Astonishing details emerge as one of the most active channel smuggling gangs is disabled. The channel, for those who don't know, being the English channel between the British Isles and France. The Iraqi, Kurdish, and Syrian group was one of the most active organized crime gangs and could launch 8 boats a night, charging migrants between $850 and $2,500 to cross. So let me comment on this before we even go any further. The boat crossings are a big problem. They're not the only problem. As many have pointed out, legal immigration is also a massive problem. Arguably, as some people believe, the boats are even a distraction from the legal immigration. Either way, the boats are still a problem. And getting rid of the people that are facilitating that, who are making it happen, is very good. This is still international criminals creating a dangerous situation, and their actions are damaging nations that they affect. So it's good that these people are being arrested. That is good news. But it doesn't actually do that much to solve the problem. There are still probably plenty of other gangs doing this. And the problem is that the UK specifically, in this case, most relevantly, our policies still permit it to happen. That needs to change. Whatever the solution is to repel the boats, these people doing this should not be able to get paid, because it should be impossible for what they're being paid to do to be done. That's the solution. Sure, arrest them. Sure, raid all their shit, get them all, put in prison forever or whatever. Whatever it needs to be. Arrest all of them. But if there's a market for it, unless you spend a lot of energy suppressing it, it will happen. But there shouldn't be a market for it, because the reason it's a market is the policies that we have that permit it to happen. That needs to stop. Still, this is good. And of course, that's even just the boats. There's way more forms of immigration beyond that as well. The leader of a notorious channel smuggling gang was among 19 arrested in a landmark European probe. Europol said the Iraqi, Kurdish, and Syrian group was one of the most active organized crime gangs in northern France. They were so sophisticated they could launch 8 boats a night from different beaches, investigators said. Police arrested 5 high-value targets and raided 19 houses and 9 storage units. Detectives had linked the gang to at least 55 separate launchings from northern France. 55 is actually not that many, I don't think, compared to the total number there's been. They used boats made in China, which were then flown to Turkey and driven to Germany. Europol revealed the legal purpose of those boats may include fishing or sailing on rivers and city canals. When used legally, such boats would not be suitable nor safe for the transportation of more than 10 individuals. However, on average, smugglers put around 50 migrants in one of these boats. The smuggling gang was described as highly professional and had branches in charge of organizing the delivery of large amounts of nautical equipment to the EU. Where's all this money coming from, incidentally? I don't think the migrants have that money. That's the reason they're coming to the UK or going to whatever country they're going to. They're not the ones with the $500 to $2,500 or pounds to spend. Who's paying these gangs? During raids, police found 24 inflatable boats, 175 life vests, 81 flotation devices for children, 60 air pumps, 13 outboard mounts, 14 engines, almost 60 electronic devices, arms, and several thousand euros in cash. Europol added drivers who were typically active members of the criminal network, transported up to 8 boats at a time. During the transportation from Germany to France, a forerunner car secured the vehicle charged with boats, aiming to avoid police detection. The drivers were located in rest areas in Belgium before they drove the equipment to the spot at the time of departure. Europol added the criminal networks involved in the phenomenon remain extremely active and are becoming increasingly violent while adapting their activities through the implementation of new crossing techniques. So this is the problem. The demand exists.
We have the orcas, man. We need to train more orcas.
Mm-hmm. I mean, short of killing the migrants, I think there's plenty of things that you can do to repel it. Just shoot the inflatable boat. And then if they turn around, which maybe they can't turn around, but shoot it as near to France as you can. If they turn around, then job done. If they don't turn around, then sure, rescue them in a small prison boat, tow them back to France, and just drop them there. I would prefer if we did not have to just kill the migrants. Whilst they are, as a collective, a serious problem, and whilst the migrants themselves are committing a crime to enter the country, and whilst, frankly, it would be better to kill them than to let our country fall as a result, it's still better if we don't have to, ultimately, for lots of reasons. So, but it shouldn't be necessary. Just repel the boats. You don't have to let them in. You don't have to kill them either.
Yeah. Don't have France escorting them right to your doorstep.
It's actually France is significantly to blame for this, because I don't think they care. I don't think they mind that this is happening.
Well,
in fact,
France is on fire.
Yeah, that's also true.
They're just trying to get them away from themselves at this point.
Matthias says conscript them and send them as wave attacks against the Three Gorges Dam. Sure, why not?
Send them to China. China will deal with them.
It would not actually be very difficult for competent, empowered leaders to solve the world's problems right now. We just don't have competent, empowered leaders. You could come up with policies to deal with this in, at most, like 5 days, if you really wanted to. Policies that would be diplomatically sound and effective. Maybe like 5 days consulting with experts, you could come up with some pretty good ideas. And then implement them, and it would probably repel like 90% of the attacks or the crossings. That could be done, but it hasn't been done. And if France really wanted to, they probably could do a lot more about this as well. But I don't think they do. And the same thing with China. If you had leaders in Western countries who recognized the threat that China is and were not corrupted by China, then you could reduce China's influence on the world stage by like half within a year.
Hey, one day that dam will break.
I'm not talking like diplomatically sound ways of doing it as well. We don't have to go violent to do these things. Some problems,
the dam's going to break on its own.
That's true. That's true. Some of these problems are so bad that some degree of extreme response to them is necessary initially, but it doesn't have to remain that way. And most of these problems can be solved without that. Even now. The problem is not that the problems are insurmountable. The problem is that the problems are just not being attended to at all, because we don't have people in positions of power who actually have the will to do it. Or if we do, they're being hamstrung by other elements of the power structures, which are perhaps overpowered.
I wonder what the plan even is at this point. Like globalization to what end? To what end after that?
Yeah. Whatever it was, it's falling apart now, I think. I think the people who were running it may have been started with an assortment of different kinds of people. Some of them idealists, some of them out for their own benefit. You need some people in any organization that are out for their own benefit, some people. But then it morphed over time to the point that it became such a powerful technique for manipulating people that now it's exclusively run by people who are interested only in their own benefit, and people like that do not build systems that last. That's why principles are so important, chat. Because if you do what is pragmatic and best for you in the moment every time, well, it's no better than the psychopaths who are running their own movement and the whole world as a result into the ground right now. You don't maintain things by doing that. You don't build things that last. To stand the test of time, you need principles. And they don't have them, the globalists. So gradually it's falling apart.